Day for Calgary-Currie, and today we are putting on this event in unison with a number of wonderful ladies who are right here standing near me. We have Kim Nelson, Robin Moser, we have Patty McLeod, and over here we have Celeste, and somewhere in the room, probably over at the membership table, Victoria Galan. And us ladies have been working together because we really feel very strongly about Jim's potential of being our next leader for this province. It's a real pleasure to be able to work with somebody and get to know somebody who has such a great way of being with people. I truly believe that it's all about relationships. And I have to say, Jim, throughout the campaign, as you've been even just calling your MLAs weekly and seeing how things are going, I so much appreciate that because it's all about communication and all about relationships. So I really appreciate that, and I really am hoping that Jim is going to become our next premier for that reason, but also because he has so many wonderful qualities that you've probably all read about, seen in the media, and or had the opportunity to speak with Jim personally. He has to be going off to another event, so I won't speak much more on this other than to give him the floor and be able to allow him to possibly charm you into making sure you purchase your membership today, as we had another event this morning. He's been on the campaign trail all day. This morning we hosted an event, and one thing that actually Sandra came and she spoke at the event this morning, and one thing that she said that I think was something I want to share with you is that we all have the opportunity in this room to be able to show and participate in democracy. And yes, that means that as PC members or potential PC members that will be purchasing a membership to do that. And so we're hoping that today, before you leave, you take the time to spend that $10 and make sure that you take the opportunity to decide with the rest of Albertans who's going to be our next premier. And I would have to tell you, and any other MLA who is in the room, my colleague Sandra Jansen is here, Jonathan Dennis is here. Are there any other MLAs here? He would shout out. So we are very much strongly behind Jim Prentice, and I certainly hope that you are too. So I will leave the floor to you, and I thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to come around this way so I don't have to talk over my shoulder. But, so you've everyone has sensed that it's my birthday, and you might sense I'm sort of milking it for everything it's worth. I think this is the third. You can have the cake now. This is actually the third birthday cake today. I didn't really expect that, but thank you very much. And we sort of minimize things on the campaign. We go at it pretty hard. I tend to do 12 or 13 events a day that I speak at. And so we winnowed it down to just 9 for the day. So
happy birthday!
So we'll all have some cake in a few minutes. But I did want to speak for about 10 minutes about the campaign and what's going on across the province and about leadership. And I know there are people here who are doing great work on our campaign. And thank you, Kimberly and Robin and Celeste and Patricia, Sandra, Christine, Jonathan, and others. Thank you all for your hard work. I know there are some people here that have come back, as Sandra has, from not being involved in politics for 20-some years.
Don't say.
A few years. And there are other people who've taken out memberships at the first time. So let me try to speak about all of this. And I probably had the best birthday present you could get. Because we had an event earlier today that I was not at, but my daughter Cassia spoke at it, and Patty's nodding. And every single person tells me that she's a way better speaker than I am, that she's way funnier, and that she's more natural.
Why are you here?
And so some people have said, what are you doing here? That's right. But for a father at my point in life, that's about the best birthday present you could actually get. So I'm very proud. We're very proud of her, and she has a wonderful voice that comes right from her heart. So she's my pride and joy. So very proud of you. So setting that aside. So this is a campaign really to decide on the future of our province and where we're headed. And it's an important campaign because the issues that are on the table right now are going to be resolved in the next 3 or 4 years, and they're going to determine what this province looks like actually for the next 25 to 50 years. And it's just about that important. So, you know, I left politics behind. I was in politics for 10 years. I was proud of what I did. I worked right beside Stephen Harper. I sat right beside him in the House of Commons for 6 years. For those 6 years, he chaired one of the cabinet executive committees, and I chaired the other. It was a partnership that I'm very proud of, and you know, I'll always have very, very strong memories about it. So I left politics because I promised Karen it was going to be a 10-year tour of duty, and we got to essentially the end of the 10 years, and I stood up in the House of Commons and said, I'm leaving. People said, well, you can't leave. You're in the middle of everything that's going on, you can't leave. I said, I go back and read the very first speech that I gave, which was an appalling speech because I couldn't speak in public at all. But I said what I pointed out at that time was that I don't believe in professional politicians. I'm not a professional politician. I was going to run because at that time I was very concerned about where the country was going, and I wanted to be part of changing it. So it was a 10-year tour of duty, and I finished it. I left there, I went off, and I've been in the private sector for the last 4 years. But I've watched with disappointment, as I think everybody has, and I'm sure, I know actually just talking with you before I got here, and I was at 4 or 5 other events earlier today, I watched with the same disappointment that all Albertans have felt about the lack of leadership in our province. And you know, the last couple of years have been difficult for reasons that are compounded, but let me come to that. But we've had, in this province, it has been years since we've had a strong sense of where we're going. And I'm going to speak about the agenda that I talked to, but at the end of the day, I decided, and Karen with me as my partner, she's ill today is the reason she's not here. We decided that what's most important to us at this point of our lives is that this province be in good hands for our grandchildren and our children, but especially our grandchildren. So we've watched what's happening. We're not happy about it. We're dissatisfied. I have been a regular tax-paying Albertan, just like all you folks have, for the last 4 years, watching with the same frustration. Watch as we have started to accept mediocrity in terms of our education system, in terms of our healthcare system, in terms of how we take care of our seniors, in terms of our fiscal finances, in a lot of different respects. And so I said to Karen, I'm not going to turn 80 and look in the mirror and say, I didn't do anything about this. And you know, I probably have been a luckier person in the history of humanity than to have been an Albertan for the last 25 years.